Now, here's a story the intelligence community never wanted you to hear. For years, they've been telling us that the Havana Syndrome was all in people's heads, just mass hysteria, they said. Nothing to see here. But tonight, a CIA whistleblower who is risking everything to tell a very different story. We're talking about directed energy weapons, foreign attacks on American soil, and a massive cover-up that goes straight to the top. A leaked Defense Department letter, and pay attention to this part, actually admits these attacks are real. Yes, real. The same attacks they've been gaslighting victims about for years. And why the cover-up? What are they hiding? Now, Americans with directed energy weapons now confirmed real. It's time to focus on protecting your body's natural defenses. After age 20, your body produces 12% less collagen each decade, leaving you vulnerable. Unlike typical supplements, our special collagen blend combines 5 critical types for maximum protection. Visit healthwithgary.com for 51% off, plus receive free VIP health coaching for life and the exclusive ebook, The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin. It's not just about looking younger, it's about staying stronger in these uncertain times. So don't wait, get protected at healthwithgary.com. It is linked down below. Now, you guys remember all that stuff? Those diplomats and agents down in Cuba having this weird reaction. Something was going on. Well, I found this video clip as I was doing my research today. Because Catherine Herridge has come forward with a 14-minute interview with a CIA whistleblower. And I want to go back into the history of this unknown sort of disease or whatever was affecting these people and kind of revisit this moment. And this is from Mike Cernovich posted this May 19th of 2022. He says, "Holy crap, I'm glad Havana Syndrome wasn't memory hold. This was truly an embarrassing hoax, hypochondria, mass hysteria, and deserves full historical documentation." Let's listen to what he had to say in this clip.
You don't have a president talking about exterminating Latinos.
100% pants on fire.
The Havana Syndrome.
Headaches and a loud noise.
Clearly acts of aggression, acts of war.
Scientists say the sounds were crickets.
The Havana Syndrome. Our enemies might be weaponizing technology, beaming something to hurt people's brains.
The claims are scientifically implausible.
Donald Trump to now investigate a conspiracy theory about COVID coming from a lab in Wuhan.
This theory needs to be investigated, which is what President Biden is doing.
Hunter Biden's laptop reveals emails.
We shouldn't look at it as anything other than a Russian disinformation operation.
The Hunter Biden laptop material is genuine.
The murder of a police officer, Officer Brian Sicknick, was killed in the line of duty. They beat a Capitol police officer to death.
So he's going back through all the disinformation campaign that was from 2022 previous. But here we have more on this Havana Syndrome. From the recount, this is August 24th of 2021.
Did U.S.
Our heads would pulse.
I was falling over in my room. I thought I was going to vomit.
Nauseous, dizzy.
So debilitating that it feels like your head is being split open.
Havana Syndrome, or what the State Department calls unexplained health incidents, has afflicted U.S. diplomats and spies in cities all around the world. This mystery started in Havana, Cuba, with several dozen patients, and has grown in the nearly 5 years since.
There have been more than 200 reported cases of this.
That number includes families. In one incident, a father stationed overseas, his 2-year-old son screaming as they each felt a mysterious pain. Although some patients have recovered quickly, others suffer lingering symptoms, still can't work, and show measurable evidence of brain damage. This doesn't match any known medical disorder, and a U.S. government report concluded last year that these symptoms are more consistent with a directed radio frequency attack. We're talking about radio frequencies similar to those used by cell phones and Wi-Fi, but it would have to be much higher energy and focused on a target. If these are targeted attacks, neither the Trump administration or the Biden administration has been able to identify a culprit.
Still not sure who or what is responsible.
We just don't have an answer yet.
These incidents have hit Americans in hotel rooms, their homes, even a White House official last year as he walked to his car. The US reportedly has geolocation data placing Russian spies at the sites of some of these incidents, and Russia has experimented with microwave weapon technology. And because many of the victims are CIA agents engaged in counter-Russian espionage, the US has reason to suspect Russia is responsible, allegations they call fake, and mocked through state-controlled media.
Migraine. Every time you cough, it was Russia.
If these are radio frequency attacks, we don't know what the weapon is. The US military does have some directed radio frequency weapons, like this crowd control heat ray, but it only makes skin feel hot. It doesn't cause the symptoms associated with Havana Syndrome. And time is ticking for US intelligence to solve this mystery, because, as Senator Jeanne Shaheen put it,
I fear that we're going to see more of these kinds of attacks in the future, and we need to be prepared for them.
So that was from back in 2021. And now we have a whistleblower who's come forward. Let's take a look at this. This is from April of this year. This is Real America's Voice. This is Stinchfeld Tonight.
Enemies of the United. So I have had a few days to digest this 60 Minutes piece about direct energy weapons being used by possible enemies of the United States on federal agents, CIA agents, State Department workers. They call it Havana Syndrome. I am convinced that this is a weapon being used on American citizens and American federal workers. I'm not so convinced of who is using that weapon. Now, 60 Minutes wants you to believe that it's Russia, and they provided a lot of evidence to show that it could be Russia.
Now, I'm going to pause this for 1 second, because it's like every single time there's some kind of a problem, they always roll out Russia, Russia, Russia. And I think it's losing its effect, especially on me. I mean, look what they did to Donald Trump. For years, it was the Russia, Russia, Russia hoax. And right now, we have a conflict in Ukraine that we're continually pumping billions of dollars into. And that is a proxy war with Russia. How many more excuses do they want to go and have a hot war with Russia, to escalate the situation to World War III scenario with Russia? Right? How many more reasons? Roll out the mainstream media, talk about directed energy weapons, targeting diplomats and CIA agents, blame Russia. So here we have, this is from November of this year, November 29th. This is from the Epoch Times. There's some state actor or non-state actor who's using directed energy weapons to hurt people. I've been told it was the Russians. Gary Nolan was told the Russians are behind Havana Syndrome. Now, I take that with a grain of salt. Now, before we get into the whistleblower, this is the big news today. Let's listen in here.
Was contaminated. I then got involved with, 3 or 4 years looking at these individuals, and it turned out, without going into the full history of it, that the majority of those patients that we had were actually the first of the recognized, or what I would think of as recognized, Havana Syndrome. So Havana Syndrome has been in the news recently. The CIA tried to downplay it, but now the NIH has come out and said, yeah, it's real, and we were wrong. The study we did previously was contaminated and a bad study. And the government has gotten deeply involved with it, and there's probably some state actor or non-state actor who's using energy weapons to hurt people. I mean, it's not a fabrication. I mean,
I think the Cuban government was supposedly.
I think they were probably, if not doing it, aware of it, and it was imagined, and I've been told that it was the Russians. We have our own energy weapons, just a microwave device that shoots in a direction. There's nothing science fiction about it.
Yeah.
I then got.
Okay, and then we also have this. This is from Jesse Waters in April.
After a 60 Minutes, House Republicans are investigating Havana Syndrome after a 60 Minutes report pinned the alleged attacks on Russia. The report claims Russians are using a futuristic technology that shoots waves of energy through a person's ears and into their brains, causing catastrophic brain injury. The attacks, they say, have been targeting federal agents and members of their family, both overseas and here on American soil.
Inside my right ear, it was like a dentist drilling on steroids. That feeling when it gets too close to your eardrum, It's like that, times 10. It was like a high-pitched metallic drilling noise, and it knocked me forward. It felt like I was stuck in this state of like disorientation, not able to function, like what is happening, and my whole body was pulsing.
Felt like it.
So, this is what we're leading up to. Disclosure party, the CIA claimed Havana Syndrome isn't caused by foreign adversaries and tried to cover it up. Reporters need to closely examine the persistent dishonesty from U.S. federal government and start asking questions about why they refuse to declassify information about UAPs. Okay. I don't know if UAPs are involved, but here is Catherine Herridge 5 hours ago. White House intelligence community is accused of gaslighting Havana Syndrome survivors. A March 2024 Defense Department letter obtained by her team validates their experiences. We believe your experiences are real, wrote BG Shannon O'Haren, then of the DoD AHI cross-functional team. Rest assured, we're continuing our efforts to investigate the cause of AHIs and care for and treat you with respect and compassion. Here is the letter that was presented. And of course, now a whistleblower has come forward. Whistleblower claims CIA covered up foreign involvement in Havana Syndrome attacks in a revealing interview. Imagine that. The CIA and other intelligence agencies have continually downplayed or outright denied the cause and effects of anomalous health incidents, AHIs, commonly known as Havana Syndrome, according to a whistleblower with Catherine Herridge. Whistleblower comes forward. Former intelligence officer claims career-ending injuries caused by foreign-directed energy weapon. This is the video that was sent to me this morning by my friend Tom, sounding the alarm.
It's a cover. You were attacked. Yes. You were attacked by an energy weapon. Yes, a directed energy weapon. The intelligence community has attempted to thwart congressional investigative efforts to uncover the truth at every turn. I mean, that sounds like a government cover-up.
It's a cover-up, and it's terrifying, and it should be terrifying to all Americans.
The new congressional report found it appears increasingly likely that a foreign adversary is behind these injuries. Vertigo.
Yes.
Eye tracking issues.
Yes.
Traumatic brain injuries. Yes. Did the CIA gaslight you?
Me and every other AHI victim. It was designed to make us think ourselves are crazy and question our own injuries.
Is it reasonable to think that the intelligence community doesn't want to acknowledge a foreign adversary?
Yes.
This Defense Department letter is significant.
Yes.
We believe your experiences are real. What explains this disconnect? We have a Defense Department letter, and yet the intelligence community, the CIA, says there's nothing to see here.
The brave people of the Department of Defense willing to stand up to the CIA. If they're politicizing this, what else are they not telling the president? And that's scary.
The intelligence community has attempted to thwart congressional investigative efforts to uncover the truth at every turn. I mean, that sounds like a government cover-up.
It's a cover-up, and it's terrifying, and it should be terrifying to all Americans.
Now requiring the aid of a service dog, just a few years ago, this retired CIA officer handled national security missions, which remain classified to this day.
At that time, what was your portfolio?
I am not at liberty to share that.
Alice, an alias, is speaking out for the first time about debilitating injuries reported among hundreds of U.S. government personnel.
The new congressional report found that it appears increasingly likely that a foreign adversary is behind these injuries. Your reaction?
Thank God they're saying it. Thank God they were brave enough to stand up to the CIA.
The Republican House report accuses the intelligence community leadership, the CIA, and the Director of National Intelligence of shaping a politically palatable conclusion.
If they're politicizing this, what else are they not telling the president? And that's scary. That's where it becomes like more real.
A decade ago, this national security memo confirmed intelligence about a high-powered microwave system weapon that may have the ability to weaken, intimidate, or kill an enemy over time. Nicknamed Havana Syndrome after a cluster of cases in Cuba, the mysterious cognitive and neurological symptoms strike diplomatic, intelligence, and military personnel.
You were attacked.
Yes.
You were attacked by an energy weapon.
Yes, a directed energy weapon. My ears started hurting. I started having vertigo. The room was spinning. My head started pulsing. Like, it hurt so badly. And I had a ton of pain in my left ear. And my ears started ringing. And I thought I was going to pass out.
The official name is Anomalous Health Incidents, or AHIs. The recent Congressional report found they have been reported domestically as well as abroad, including Austria, China, Colombia, Georgia, Germany, India, Poland, Russia, and Vietnam.
I was serving in Africa, and I experienced an anomalous health incident in my home on a Saturday night, and I heard a weird noise. It was a really weird sound that I'll never forget it. And after about a second or two, I felt it in my feet, kind of like the reverb from a speaker.
So you're feeling a vibration.
I heard a noise, a weird noise, and then I felt it.
So what do you think the weapon looks like?
I think that there are probably multiple weapons. I think there are weapons that can be fit in backpacks, ones that can be fit in the trunks of cars, ones that can be planted at a position with line of sight to people from across the street.
Based on our investigative reporting, many victims were assigned portfolios linked to Russian interests, from cybersecurity to election interference and disinformation. Others had specialized language skills.
This government record says that you have a traumatic brain injury.
I believe the Russian GRU came to my house late at night and took me off the battlefield.
Russian intelligence.
Yes.
Alice's injuries are so debilitating, she needed multiple breaks during our interview. At times, she wore dark glasses to blunt the studio lights.
Wow. Let's talk about the symptoms you've experienced. Ringing in the ears.
Yes.
Vertigo.
Yes.
Head and ear pressure.
Yes.
Eye tracking issues.
Yes.
Cognitive difficulties.
Yes.
Traumatic brain injury.
Yes.
Taken all together, is it a struggle every day?
Yes. I never thought I'd be retired in my 40s.
Medically retired?
Yep.
Do you feel like your old self died the day of the attack?
A little bit. I was paid for my brain. I was paid for my ability to write well and to write for the president. I was paid to meet with foreigners and to get information that would help advance U.S. security objectives. And I can't do that anymore the way I used to. And that's one of the hardest parts.
As cases spiked in 2021, the same year Alice says she was attacked, multiple sources told us CIA Director Burns said privately that it was his personal belief Russia was behind some of the attacks.
Has CIA Director Burns, based on your experience, tried to do the right thing?
I think he's a really good person at his core. I think he was being honest when he said he thought it was Russia. He is a Russia expert. He was the U.S. ambassador there. I think that it's a sign of how political this is that even he fell in line.
While experts uncovered evidence suggesting a weapon, in 2023, the intelligence community took a controversial position that it's very unlikely a foreign adversary is responsible.
If
Unlikely. So it's unlikely, or is it Russia? It's the same thing like we got with the drones. It's the government, it's not the government. What's going on here? Is this another massive psyop from the CIA carting out this whistleblower to do an interview? I don't even know what to believe anymore. Let's continue.
The finished paper on my desk as a team chief, I would have sent it back to the analyst and said, you have to start over again. It didn't meet any of our most basic tradecraft standards.
Was the 2023 report a slap in the face?
Completely.
Was it demoralizing?
Yes.
Humiliating?
Yes.
Was it a betrayal after you pledged to serve your country?
Yes. I miss my colleagues and I miss the work every single day. It was really tough work.
But you love the work.
I loved it.
Merriam-Webster defines gaslighting as psychological manipulation that causes the victim to question the validity of their own thoughts. Did the CIA gaslight you?
Me and every other AHI victim.
Was the CIA gaslighting designed to hurt you?
It was designed to make us think ourselves are crazy and to question our own our own injuries.
Did you expect more from the CIA?
100%. We swore this oath, and every day I watch them continue to deny people's humanity and their injuries.
Is it reasonable to think that the...
I'm sorry, but we're talking about the CIA here. Sorry.
Intelligence community doesn't want to acknowledge a foreign adversary?
Yes.
Because then they would have to do something.
Yes. And it's complicated with Russia, right? One theory we bet around is it possible that's Russia and China? Is it possible that, one country created it, sold it, or gave it to another country?
While the CIA still questions the cause, the Labor Department does accept Alice's traumatic brain injury as a work injury. Alice qualifies for limited compensation through a law called the Havana Act.
It is a full-time job to try to get medical treatment, and is another full-time job to try to handle the bureaucracy of trying to access benefits. I've gone over $100,000 in out of pocket for this.
$100,000?
Because none of these places take health insurance. And if they're experimental, which we need, the reality is a normal physician cannot help us. This is different. AHIs are much more complicated, and we're basically like ticking time bombs, Catherine. I've already started having to go to funerals of friends of mine. My friend that was with me the day I got my dog has already passed away, a fellow AHI survivor of a rare form of cancer. I have friends in nursing homes. I have friends with dementia and Parkinson's. In some ways, people have a heart attack, and if you don't die of it, we know how to fix a heart attack. We don't know how to fix this.
According to these heavily redacted government records, after Alice was medically retired, the CIA pulled her security clearance, citing psychological conditions.
It sounds like retaliation.
Yes, my lawyers also believed that as well.
Did CIA treat women officers differently?
Yes.
I've done some reporting where I've heard complaints that female officers were told, do you think you're having problems because of your hormones?
Yes. Yes. It's like we're in the 1950s. Pregnant, they brought up, could you be pregnant? Are you upset because you're not pregnant? Is it hormones? Is it menopause? Is it perimenopause? Do you have an anxiety disorder?
Were any of the men asked if their hormones were to blame for their symptoms?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm not saying that men have been treated well, but nothing to the extent. There hasn't been a systemic action against them.
After recent government studies found no medical explanation for their symptoms, a senior military official sent this letter obtained by our investigative team that validates their experiences and reaffirms a commitment to identify the cause.
This Defense Department letter is significant.
Yes.
It states, we believe your experiences are real, and we are unwaveringly committed to continue to provide quality care for you and those who are eligible.
The Department of Defense believes us and has actually gone to bat for those of us from across the U.S. government. I would not be getting care if it wasn't for senior DoD leadership.
What explains this disconnect? We have a Defense Department letter that says, we believe you, and yet the intelligence community, the CIA, says there's nothing to see here.
The brave people of the Department of Defense that have worked on this issue, and we're willing to stand up to the CIA.
Is it fair to assess that the CIA, the intelligence community's motivation, is that this story is bad for recruitment? This story is bad for retention.
This is true. I don't know if that's why they're doing it, but this is terrible for recruitment and retention.
After so many years of quiet advocacy, why come forward now?
Because the CIA is betraying, and not just betraying, but like making friends of mine and my life a living hell. I want them to stop denying what is happening to us, and so there can be opportunities to collect the information that we need so that we can prevent this from happening to more people.
Will a Trump-Vance administration make a change?
I really hope so.
What would the change look like?
I'm not sure, the phrase cleaning up the swamp, is thrown around a lot in DC, but at the bare minimum, I do not believe that those people that were involved in the earlier reports should be allowed to touch this. I think they need to actually recuse themselves or should be replaced.
You know what the CIA is going to say. We're so sorry some of these former employees are struggling, but we don't see that there's any there.
They're also going to say that we take every reported case seriously and we're committed to taking care of our people. And that's what hurts so much. Because they're not.
In response to nearly a dozen questions, a CIA spokesperson said the agency has a profound obligation to care for its people, and the intelligence community findings do not call into question the experience and real health issues that U.S. government personnel and their family members, including CIA's own officers, have reported while serving our country. So, what do you guys think about this? I mean, there's a long history here. This has been going on for a while, and it's been in the media. You got the Congressional report, and now you have this whistleblower coming forward claiming the CIA covered up foreign involvement in Havana Syndrome in the interview with Catherine Herridge. And I question any time they continually point the finger at Russia, and then they cite political reasons, XYZ, I don't know. But the implications are staggering. All right. Perhaps we do have foreign adversaries targeting American personnel with advanced weapons, but our own intelligence agencies work overtime to discredit the victims. It's not just a cover-up, it's a betrayal. And now, as more whistleblowers step forward, the question isn't just who's behind these attacks, but who is behind the cover-up? Who benefits from keeping Americans in the dark about these weapons? So here's what I want you to do. Go down to the comment section right now and tell us, if our intelligence agencies would cover up foreign attacks on American soil, what else are they hiding from us? What other threats to our national security are being swept under the rug? And while you are waking up others to this truth, show your support with our new MAG Avengers gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, link below, because the truth can't be silenced.